Dr. Jaiwan Kim stepped through the airlock of the Coalition medical ship. His boots made soft sounds on the metal floor. The ship was bigger than he expected. White lights ran along the walls and everything looked very clean. A tall blue alien walked toward him. She had 4 arms and kind eyes. Her skin was smooth like water, and she wore a white medical coat with silver buttons. "Welcome aboard the Sanctuary's Hope, Dr. Kim," she said. Her voice sounded like music. "I am Dr. Nira, the Chief Medical Officer. We are very happy to have a human doctor with us." Jaiwan nodded politely. He carried only one small bag in his medical kit. "Thank you for having me. I'm ready to help wherever you need me." Dr. Nira smiled. "Your people have such interesting ways of healing. We have heard many stories about human medicine. Please let me show you around." They walked through long hallways. Other aliens stopped their work to look at Jaiwan. Some had green skin and big eyes. Others looked like tall birds with feathers instead of hair. All of them seemed curious but friendly. "Most of our crew comes from peaceful worlds," Dr. Nira explained. "We don't see much fighting where we come from. But lately the Draxian Empire has been attacking more border planets. That's why we need good doctors like you." They entered a large medical bay. Jaiwan saw many beds filled with wounded soldiers. Some aliens had bandages around their arms and legs. Others had burns on their faces. A few were sleeping but many were awake and talking quietly. "These soldiers came from the battle at Kepler 7, Dr. Nira said sadly. "The Draxians attacked without warning. Many good people were hurt." Jaiwan walked between the beds, looking at each patient carefully. His eyes moved quickly, taking in details. He stopped next to a young alien with green skin who had a large wound on his chest. "What kind of weapon made this?" Jaiwan asked. Dr. Nira looked surprised. "A Draxian pulse rifle, I think." "Why do you ask?" "The burn pattern is very specific," Jaiwan said, gently touching the edge of the wound. The energy spread in 3 directions. "That means it was fired from about 50 meters away, probably from higher ground." The other doctors in the room stopped working and looked at him. Dr. Nira's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "How do you know this?" asked a small red alien named Dr. Kex. "Most doctors only care about healing the wound, not how it was made." Jaiwan was quiet for a moment. "I've seen wounds like this before. Knowing how they happen helps me treat them better." He opened his medical kit and took out tools that the alien doctors had never seen. His hands moved very fast but also very carefully. He cleaned the wound and applied a special medicine that made the pain go away immediately. "This is amazing," whispered a young alien nurse named Yuki. "The soldier looks much better already." Jaiwan moved to the next bed. A bird-like alien soldier had a broken arm. But the break was strange, not like falling down. "This bone was broken by something heavy hitting it very hard," Jaiwan said. "Probably a Draxian war hammer. The metal pieces in the wound are from their standard armor." Dr. Nira moved closer. "Dr. Kim, how do you know so much about Draxian weapons?" Jaiwan didn't answer right away. He was busy setting the broken bone. His hands were very steady, and he worked faster than any doctor the aliens had ever seen. "I read a lot of medical reports," he said finally. But Dr. Nira noticed something else. When Jaiwan worked on the battle wounds, he didn't look scared or sad like other doctors. He looked calm, like he had seen such things many times before. His questions were not just about medicine. He asked about how many enemies there were, what kind of ships they used, and how the battle started. As the day went on, more wounded soldiers arrived. Jaiwan worked without stopping. He saved 3 soldiers that the other doctors thought would die. He fixed wounds that seemed impossible to heal. And with each patient he asked more questions about the fighting. "Dr. Kim," said Dr. Nira during a quiet moment, "you are not like other doctors we have worked with." Jaiwan was washing his hands. His white coat had some blood on it, but his hands were perfectly steady. "What do you mean?" "You work like someone who has seen war before. Real war. Not just the wounded who come after." Jaiwan dried his hands slowly. He looked out the window at the stars. "The galaxy is a dangerous place, Dr. Nira. Sometimes good people get hurt and someone has to be ready to help them. But you know things that doctors don't usually know." Jaiwan turned around. His eyes were kind but also hard, like someone who had seen too much sadness. "I know what I need to know to save lives." That night, after the other doctors went to sleep, Dr. Nira found Jaiwan still working in the medical bay. He was reading files about Draxian military tactics on a computer screen. Medical books were open on the table next to him, but so were books about weapons and fighting. She watched him from the doorway. This human doctor was not what he seemed to be. But as she looked at all the soldiers he had saved today, she decided that maybe that was not a bad thing. The war was getting worse and they needed all the help they could get. The alarm rang through the ship at 3 in the morning. Jaiwan woke up quickly and put on his clothes. Red lights flashed in the hallways as he ran toward the medical bay. Dr. Nira was already there with the other doctors. Her blue skin looked worried in the red light. "What's happening?" Jaiwan asked. "We got a distress call from Kepler Station," Dr. Nira said. "It's a research base with 30 scientists. The Draxians are attacking it right now." Captain Voss, a tall alien with silver skin, spoke to everyone through the ship's speakers. "The station has wounded people who need help. But it's very dangerous. The Draxians are still fighting there." Dr. Nira looked at her medical team. "We need volunteers for the rescue mission. But I must warn you, this is not safe. The Draxians might still be there when we arrive." The other doctors looked scared. They were good at healing people but they had never been in a real battle before. Jaiwan stepped forward. "I'll go." "Dr. Kim, you just arrived yesterday," Dr. Nira said. "You don't have to dash. Those people need medical help now, not later," Jaiwan said calmly. "Every minute we wait, more people might die." Dr. Nira looked at him carefully. "This is very dangerous. The Draxians are not like other enemies. They are big, strong, and they fight with claws and energy weapons." "I understand," Jaiwan said. "But I'm still going." 2 hours later, their small rescue ship landed on Kepler Station. The research base was built into a mountain with metal doors and concrete walls. But Jaiwan could see that many walls had big holes in them. Smoke was coming from some buildings. Dr. Nira, Jaiwan, and 4 other medical team members ran toward the main building. They carried medical supplies and equipment to move wounded people. Inside the station they found scared scientists hiding in a storage room. Many were hurt. Some had burns from energy weapons. Others had cuts from broken glass and metal. "Thank you for coming," said Dr. Lee, the station leader. She had a bandage around her head. "The Draxians attacked 2 hours ago. We fought them off but some of our people are badly hurt." Jaiwan immediately started checking the wounded. He worked very fast, deciding who needed help first. "This man has internal bleeding. This woman has a broken leg. We need to move them to the ship quickly." The alien doctors watched Jaiwan work. He was calm and sure of himself even in this dangerous place. He knew exactly what to do. They had moved 6 wounded scientists to the rescue ship when they heard loud roaring sounds outside. "They're back!" Dr. Lee shouted. "The Draxians are back." Through the broken windows they could see big shapes moving in the darkness. Draxian soldiers were tall as houses, with thick green skin and long claws. They carried weapons that shot bright energy beams. The alien doctors froze with fear. They had never seen real Draxian warriors before. The creatures looked like nightmares, all teeth and claws and angry red eyes. But Jaiwan didn't stop working. He continued bandaging a wounded scientist while listening to the sounds outside. "How many?" he asked Dr. Lee quietly. I think maybe 5 or 6, she said, her voice shaking. "What weapons do they have?" "Pulse rifles and plasma claws." "But why are you asking?" "We need to hide." Jaiwan finished with his patient and stood up. He looked around the room and saw a supply closet full of tools and chemicals. Suddenly the metal door exploded inward. A huge Draxian warrior stepped through the hole. It was 8 feet tall with skin like green stone. Its red eyes found the wounded scientist that Jaiwan had just been helping, a young woman who couldn't move. The Draxian raised its plasma claw, ready to kill her. Dr. Nira and the other alien doctors couldn't move. They were too scared. But Jaiwan moved very fast. He grabbed a surgical laser from his kit and pointed it at the Draxian's eyes. The bright light made the creature step back and roar with anger. Then Jaiwan picked up a bone saw from the medical supplies. What happened next shocked everyone in the room. Jaiwan moved like he had done this many times before. The surgical laser became a weapon that could cut through Draxian armor. The bone saw became a fighting tool. He knew exactly where to hit the big creature to make it fall down. The first Draxian warrior dropped to the ground in 30 seconds. 2 more Draxians came through the door. Jaiwan used chemicals from the supply closet to make a small bomb. The explosion made them confused. Then he used medical instruments to attack their weak spots, places that only someone who knew alien anatomy would understand. In less than 2 minutes, 3 Draxian warriors were dead on the floor. Jaiwan calmly put down his improvised weapons and went back to checking on his patients. His white medical coat was now covered with green Draxian blood, but his hands were steady as he took the wounded woman's pulse. "Her heartbeat is good," he said quietly. "We can move her now." Dr. Nira stared at him with all 4 of her eyes wide open. The other alien doctors couldn't speak. They had just watched their peaceful human colleague kill 3 of the most dangerous warriors in the galaxy using medical tools. Dr. Kim, Dr. Nira whispered, What are you? Jaiwan looked up from his patient. His face was calm, like nothing unusual had happened. I'm a doctor, he said simply. And my patients needed protection. Back on the ship, the alien medical team gathered in the break room. They sat around a table and looked at Dr. Jaiwan Kim, who was drinking coffee from a small cup. His white coat was clean now, but everyone remembered the green blood that had covered it just hours before. Dr. Nira put her 4 hands on the table. Dr. Kim, we need to talk. Jaiwan looked up from his coffee. About what? About what happened down there, said Dr. Kex, the small red alien. His voice was shaking a little. You killed 3 Draxian warriors with medical tools. That's not normal. You moved like a soldier, added Nurse Yuki, a young Villani with worried eyes. You knew exactly how to fight them. How is that possible? Jaiwan was quiet for a long time. He looked out the window at the stars. Finally he put down his coffee cup. You're right, he said. I'm not just a regular doctor. Dr. Nira leaned closer. Then what are you? I was a combat medic in the Terran colonial wars. After that, I became a battlefield surgeon for human special forces units. Jaiwan's voice was calm, like he was talking about the weather. I spent 15 years in war zones before I became a regular doctor. The alien doctors looked at each other with confusion. But you heal people, Dr. Keck said. How can you also hurt people? Because sometimes hurting bad people is the only way to save good people, Jaiwan answered. In human wars, medics don't just treat wounds. We protect our patients. We fight when we have to. Nurse Yuki's eyes were very wide. Your species fights and heals at the same time? We learned that we had to. When enemies attack hospitals and medical centers, someone has to stop them. So human medics learned to fight. Dr. Nira was thinking hard. But doesn't that go against your medical oath? Don't you promise to do no harm? Jaiwan smiled sadly. The oath says, do no harm. But if I let a Draxian warrior kill a wounded child, am I doing no harm? If I can stop a killer but I choose not to, who am I really protecting? Before anyone could answer, loud alarms started ringing throughout the ship. Captain Voss's voice came through the speakers. All crew to battle stations. 3 Draxian attack ships are approaching. They will reach us in 10 minutes. The alien doctors jumped up from their chairs looking scared. They had never been in a space battle before. What do we do? Dr. Kex asked, his voice high with fear. Dr. Nira tried to stay calm. We go to the medical bay and prepare for wounded soldiers. That's our job. But Jaiwan was already moving toward a computer terminal. His fingers typed very fast, bringing up ship diagrams and weapon systems. Dr. Kim, what are you doing? Dr. Nira asked. Checking our defenses, Jaiwan said, studying the screen. We have good shields but only 2 laser cannons. Not enough against 3 Draxian ships. How do you know about ship weapons? Nurse Yuki asked. I've been on ships like this before, just not medical ones. The ship suddenly shook hard. Everyone grabbed onto tables and walls to stay standing. The lights flickered. They're shooting at us. Dr. Keck shouted. Jaiwan's communication device buzzed. Captain Voss's voice came through. Dr. Kim, we need you in Medical Bay 3. We have wounded soldiers coming in from the engine room. On my way, Jaiwan replied. But as they ran toward Medical Bay 3, another explosion shook the ship. Part of the ceiling fell down, blocking their path. We're trapped, Dr. Nira said. Jaiwan looked around quickly. No, we're not. Follow me. He led them through a different hallway that the aliens didn't know about. Somehow, Jaiwan knew the ship's layout perfectly, even though he had only been there for 1 day. When they reached Medical Bay 3, wounded coalition soldiers were already being brought in. Some had burns from energy weapons. Others were hurt by falling metal and broken glass. Jaiwan immediately went to work. But while his hands operated on a wounded soldier, he also talked to Captain Voss through his communication device. Captain, the Draxians are using a triangle attack pattern, Jaiwan said while removing metal pieces from a soldier's leg. Turn the ship 15 degrees to the right and fire both cannons at the lead ship's engine section. How do you know their attack pattern? Captain Voss asked. I've fought them before. Trust me. The ship turned and they heard the sound of their weapons firing. One of the Draxian ships exploded in bright light outside the windows. Dr. Nira watched in amazement. Jaiwan was performing surgery with one hand while directing a space battle with the other. His voice never changed. He stayed calm while everyone else was scared. Nurse Yuki, give me the blue medicine, Jaiwan said. Captain, the second ship is trying to get behind us. Drop altitude by 20 degrees and spin left. This is impossible, Dr. Kex whispered. He's doing surgery and fighting a battle at the same time. Another wounded soldier was brought in. This one was hurt very badly with blood everywhere. The alien doctors thought he would die for sure. But Jaiwan worked on him while still talking to Captain Voss. Fire at the second ship's weapon systems. They're charging their main gun. His hands moved like magic. The badly wounded soldier's breathing became stronger. The bleeding stopped. The third Draxian ship shot a big energy beam at them, but Captain Voss was ready because of Jaiwan's warning. Their ship moved away just in time. Got them? Captain Voss shouted through the communication device. All 3 Draxian ships are destroyed. The alien medical team cheered, but Jaiwan just kept working on his patients. He had saved all 5 wounded soldiers and he had helped win the battle. Dr. Nira came over to him. Her face showed many emotions: surprise, fear, and respect. Dr. Kim, she said quietly, you're not just a doctor, are you? You're also a warrior. Jaiwan finished bandaging his last patient and looked at her. I'm whatever my patients need me to be, Dr. Nira. Today they needed someone who could heal them and protect them at the same time. The other doctors stood around him, still trying to understand what they had seen. Is this what all human doctors are like? Nurse Yuki asked. Jaiwan smiled for the first time since the battle started. No, most human doctors have never been in a war. But some of us learned that sometimes you can't separate healing from protecting. They're both ways of saving lives. 3 weeks later, strange stories began spreading through Draxian space. Warrior ships that returned from battles told frightening tales about a human doctor who appeared wherever the fighting was worst. They called him Dok Vash in their language, which meant, the healer who kills. Commander Rex sat in his war room on the Draxian battle cruiser Death's Claw. He was the biggest and strongest Draxian warrior in the fleet, with scars covering his green skin like a map of old battles. But today he looked worried. Tell me again about this human, he said to Captain Kor, who had just returned from a failed attack on a coalition medical ship. Captain Kor's red eyes looked down at the floor. Commander, this human is not like other enemies. We attacked their medical ship, thinking it would be easy. Medical ships have no weapons, no soldiers. But Commander Rex growled. But this human, he was performing surgery on wounded coalition soldiers when we broke into their medical bay. He did not stop his work even when our warriors entered the room. Captain Kor's voice became quieter. Then one of our soldiers threatened a wounded child. Commander Rex leaned forward. And? The human moved faster than our eyes could follow. He used medical tools like weapons. In 30 seconds, 3 of our best warriors were dead, and he went back to saving the child's life. His hands never shook. He never looked afraid. Other Draxian captains around the table made worried noises. They had heard similar stories from different battles. Our warriors are starting to avoid sectors where this human is reported, said Captain Vash. They say it is bad luck to fight someone who can heal and kill at the same time. Commander Rex slammed his big fist on the table. We are Draxians. We do not fear one small human. But even as he said this, he felt something cold in his stomach. The Draxian Empire respected only strength, but they had never met someone who could be gentle and deadly at the same moment. On the coalition ship, Jaiwan was reading reports in the medical bay when Lieutenant Yuna Park arrived. She was a coalition intelligence officer with short black hair and serious eyes. Dr. Kim, we have a problem, she said. 3 days ago, the Draxians captured a coalition medical ship. They're holding 12 doctors and nurses prisoner on Draxian Station Omega. Jaiwan looked up from his files. Why are you telling me this? Because Coalition Command wants to send a rescue team, and they specifically asked for you to lead it. I'm a doctor, not a soldier. Lieutenant Park sat down across from him. Dr. Kim, the Draxians are afraid of you. Our intelligence shows they've been avoiding battles where you might be present. That gives us an advantage we've never had before. Jaiwan was quiet for a moment. What do you know about Draxian Station Omega? It's built inside an asteroid. Heavy defenses, about 200 warriors. The prisoners are being held in the center section, surrounded by guards. And you want me to walk in there and rescue 12 people? I want you to do what you do best, save lives. Lieutenant Park leaned forward. Will you help them? 2 hours later, Jaiwan was on a small stealth ship with 6 Coalition Special Forces soldiers. But instead of planning the attack like normal soldiers would, Jaiwan was studying Draxian medical files on his computer. Sir, what are you looking for? Asked Sergeant Kim, the team leader. Draxians have two weak spots that most people don't know about, Jaiwan explained. There's a nerve cluster behind their left ear that can make them unconscious. And their thick skin is sensitive to certain chemicals that we use in medicine. You mean we can put them to sleep instead of killing them? If we're careful, yes. But we need to move fast. The effect only lasts for about 10 minutes. When they reached Draxian Station Omega, Jaiwan's plan was simple but smart. Using his medical supplies, he created a gas that would make Draxian warriors very sleepy. The Coalition soldiers wore special masks to protect themselves. They moved through the station quietly. When they met guards, Jaiwan used pressure point techniques he had learned as a combat medic. Touch the right spot on a Draxian's neck, and they would fall asleep for hours. But when they reached the prison section, 30 Draxian warriors were waiting for them. It's a trap, Sergeant Kim shouted. The Draxians attacked with their energy weapons and claws. The Coalition soldiers fought back, but they were outnumbered. Jaiwan moved between the fighting warriors, still carrying his medical bag. But now he also had small devices that shot the sleeping gas at Draxian faces. He knew exactly which nerve points to hit to stop enemies without killing them. One by one, the Draxian warriors fell asleep or became too weak to fight. How is he doing that? One of the Coalition soldiers asked, watching Jaiwan disable 3 enemies in seconds. I think he's using their own biology against them, Sergeant Kim replied. He knows how their bodies work better than they do. When the fighting was over, Jaiwan found the captured Coalition medics in a small prison room. They were scared but not badly hurt. Dr. Kim, said Dr. Sarah, one of the prisoners. How did you find us? Someone had to, Jaiwan replied, checking each prisoner for injuries. Are you all okay? As they escaped from the station, Lieutenant Park listened to Draxian radio communications. The enemy warriors were reporting back to their commanders, and their voices sounded frightened. They're calling you Dokvashkri now, she told Jaiwan. It means, the healer who brings nightmares. Jaiwan was treating a small cut on one of the rescued medics. Good. Maybe they'll think twice before attacking medical ships. Dr. Kim, asked Dr. Sarah, why do you know so much about fighting? Jaiwan finished bandaging her arm. Because sometimes the only way to save lives is to stop the people who want to take them. When they returned to Coalition space, reports of their successful rescue spread quickly. More stories reached Draxian commanders about the human who could defeat their warriors without even killing them. For the first time in their military history, Draxian battle groups began changing course to avoid areas where Dokvashkri might be present. The fear of the Draxian Empire was learning to fear. 6 months later, Dr. Jaiwan Kim stood in the Great Meeting Hall on Nexus Prime, the capital world of the Galactic Coalition. Above him, representatives from 50 different alien species sat in curved rows, all looking down at the small human doctor. The Galactic Medical Council had called this special meeting after reports about Jaiwan spread throughout Coalition space. Some aliens were scared of him. Others were curious. Many were confused. Council leader Vex, a wise old alien with purple skin and 6 eyes, spoke first. Dr. Kim, we have heard many stories about your actions. Some call you a hero. Others say you are too dangerous to work in medical ships. Today we want to understand the truth. Jaiwan looked up at the hundreds of alien faces watching him. What would you like to know? How can you heal and fight at the same time? Asked Dr. Mora, a gentle alien from the peaceful Zenith worlds. On my planet, doctors never hurt anyone. We believe all life is sacred. I believe all life is sacred too, Jaiwan replied. That's exactly why I fight when I have to. The council members whispered to each other in many different languages. But violence is wrong, said another council member. Our medical traditions teach us to help everyone, even our enemies. I agree, Jaiwan said. When Draxian warriors are wounded, I treat them just like I treat Coalition soldiers. I've saved the lives of many enemies. This surprised many aliens in the room. They had not heard this part of the story. Then why do you also kill them? Asked Council Leader Vex. Jaiwan was quiet for a moment. Let me tell you about a day 3 weeks ago. I was treating a wounded Villani child on a medical station. She was only 6 years old, hurt by an explosion. While I was operating on her, Draxian raiders attacked the station. The room became very quiet. A Draxian warrior came into my operating room. I was in the middle of heart surgery on this little girl. If I stopped, she would die. The warrior raised his weapon to kill both of us. Jaiwan paused, looking around the room. What would you do? Let the child die while I tried to talk to the warrior? Hope that someone else would save us? Or stop the threat so I could continue saving her life? Dr. Mora looked uncomfortable. But surely there was another way. There wasn't, Jaiwan said firmly. I had 30 seconds to choose, let the child die or stop the warrior. I chose to save the child. By killing the warrior, Council Leader Vex said. By removing the threat to my patient. The warrior chose violence. I chose life. An alien from the Korthak Consortium stood up. Dr. Kim, your actions have changed how the Draxians fight. They avoid battles where you might be present. Some say this is good, but others worry about what it means. What do you mean? Jaiwan asked. The Draxians respect only strength. For the first time, they fear someone from the medical community. This has never happened before. Lieutenant Yuna Park, who had been sitting quietly in the audience, stood up. May I speak, Council Leader? You may, Lieutenant. Last week, Draxian Commander Zrex sent a message to Coalition Command. He wants to meet with Dr. Kim directly. The entire council started talking at once, their voices filling the room with surprised chatter. The Draxians want to talk? Dr. Moore asked. They never talk. They only fight. Commander Zrex said something interesting, Lieutenant Park continued. He said that anyone who can heal and fight with equal skill deserves respect. He wants to understand how this is possible. Council Leader Vex raised his hand for silence. Dr. Kim, what do you think about this meeting? I think it's worth trying, Jaiwan said. But not alone. I want to bring other human medics with me. Show them that I'm not special or different. All human combat medics learn these skills. You want to teach other species to fight and heal like humans do? Asked Dr. Mora. I want to teach them that protecting innocent people is part of healing, Jaiwan replied. A doctor who can't protect his patients can't really help them. 3 months later, the first Galactic Combat Medic Training Center opened on Luna, Earth's moon. Students came from 20 different alien species to learn from human instructors. Dr. Nira was one of the first graduates. She learned to use medical knowledge to stop enemies without killing them, just like Jaiwan had shown her. Her 4 arms made her very good at fighting and healing at the same time. The graduation ceremony was small but important. 50 new combat medics received their certificates from Jaiwan himself. Remember, he told them as they stood in neat rows, we are still doctors first. We fight only to protect. We heal everyone who needs help, even former enemies. But we will never let innocent people die because we were afraid to act. In the audience, Commander Zrex sat next to Coalition officers. The huge Draxian warrior had traveled from his home world to see this ceremony. After months of talking with Jaiwan, he finally understood what humans meant by fighting for peace. Your species is very strange, Dr. Kim, Commander Zrex said after the ceremony. But I think I understand now. You fight because you love life, not because you hate your enemies. That's right, Jaiwan replied. We learned that sometimes love requires strength. The Draxian Empire signed a peace treaty 2 months later. They had never met an enemy they couldn't understand before, but humans who could heal and fight with equal skill made them realize that maybe there were better ways to solve problems than just fighting. And throughout Coalition space, alien doctors began learning that protecting life and saving life were the same thing.